Well, hello there. I'm Alex Pearl, a smelly nerd. So the idea for this video came to me from a friend, a lady that you may know named Margie Noire, and she had a video up called For Myself, By Myself that was all about perfumes that she would wear for herself. So hello to you, Margie. I'm shamelessly stealing your concept and throwing it out there for all of the internet. I really loved her concept because there is a sizable amount of the fragrance community that I feel gives undue attention to compliments. In the process of focusing so hard on that, they shift fragrances into something just worn out of like a desperate need to gain the approval of strangers, and specifically to rack up like as big of a compliment count as possible, and that's just ugh. Then suddenly along comes Margie, and she puts the focus back on what makes her happy regardless of the opinions of others, and I thought that was brilliant. So if you make videos on the topic of fragrance, I want to hear from you. I want to hear which fragrances you wear strictly for yourself and when you're alone. And even if you don't make videos, just tell me what you enjoy wearing purely for your own satisfaction. I legitimately want to know. Even if you're completely by yourself and that scent is solely speaking to you, what is it that you reach for? Seriously, I want to hear from you. So here are 6 fragrances that I wear strictly for myself and most of the time when I'm by myself. First up, Marienbad from Prada. Look, I absolutely love this scent, but this is expensive and the projection is modest. Given the expense of Marienbad, there is no way that I'm lugging it in my bag to work or to school. It's among my all-time favorites, so there's no way that I'm gonna take the risk that like the bottle is gonna bust on me. Marienbad smells of rich amber. It's sweetened up by plum. There is plenty of the black smoke of incense, rich brown leather, and tolu. It gives me strong vibes of mystique, of mystery. I love that. I don't wear Marienbad for show. I don't wear this to impress those that I'm unfamiliar with. No, I'm selective with this. If I wear Marienbad in your presence, it's an acknowledgement of how much I care about you. Next up, Opus IX from Amouage. Again, I adore this fragrance. This one performs like an absolute monster, but it is not cheap and it's not easy to find. There is no way that I'm gonna lug this bottle around with me to work, to school. Nope. Opus IX is also divisive. It's something that isn't for everyone. It's a bit of an acquired taste. For most, it's simply too strange, too unconventional. But I myself, as stated previously, am strange and unusual. I could really care less that most people don't think she's right for them. She's right for me. This is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. The most dominant notes are like a filthy, dirty jasmine that is just covered in fine ground black pepper. You have ambergris and civet that come across like sexed on sheets, and everything is stuck together with this honeyless, unsweetened beeswax. This fragrance creates a mood of secrets and sex. There's addiction, there's obsession, it's giving me carnality, and basically that's like every Tuesday for me. And then there was Calyx from Prescriptives. I'm not even kidding, I once had a woman try to correct me, and she like made this big show of it and said, "It's pronounced Salish!" Like, wherever you are, lady, you're still wrong. Much like Marienbad, Calyx does not project massively on my skin. But unlike Marienbad, Calyx also doesn't have the best longevity. It doesn't matter. Even though she doesn't last terribly long on my skin, I love her just the same. Calyx smells of cool, lightly sweet melon. It smells of tropical fruit, fresh greenery, woods, and a little bit of smoke. If you were to take a look at the listed notes for Calyx, you might think that it's just kind of a pedestrian, fruity floral, and she is anything but that. Calyx gives me the distinct mental image of a long abandoned temple in the middle of a jungle that's been overrun with wild flora. Because of her modest performance, I usually just wear Calyx when I'm by myself, and I love to wear her in the heat. Calyx really shines in the heat. Moving right along to Jean Patou's Sublime. This is practically like a love letter to Ylang Ylang and Sandalwood, and if you're in for it, like great. If you're about that, wonderful. If you're not, don't bother. Sublime is kind of buttery, creamy softness incarnate. It's dreamy, it's smooth, it's well put together. I'll never be any of these things, but I appreciate that Sublime can lend me the illusion temporarily. And I'm really not certain as to why, but I do prefer to wear Sublime strictly on days when I'm by myself and working on my own projects. Sure, I might wear Sublime if I was having a guest over for dinner or something, but that's rare, and I wouldn't feel right wearing it to work, or certainly not to school. It just wouldn't feel correct. So I'm just gonna keep my appreciation to Sublime to myself. Next, My Sin from the house of Lanvin. And the notes that I get from this are very much different from what I normally see listed. If you just read the listed notes, you might actually anticipate something closer to Jean Patou's Joy, but Lanvin's My Sin is something very much different. I do smell some aldehydes, I smell sweet plum, civet, warm cinnamon, clove, and amber, and also some powdery iris. And My Sin might not project as massively as something like an arpege, but it doesn't matter, and it doesn't change the amount that I enjoy it. You know, I even prefer her because of her darker, moodier nature. My Sin gives me the feeling of someone who's pensive and introverted, and at the same time, you know, they're this fascinating individual, you know, rich with hidden desire and unrequited love. And I adore all of that, but because My Sin is vintage, because the projection is modest, it's going to remain a private pleasure of mine. Finally, Deneuve for Catherine Deneuve. God damn, but I appreciate a well-executed chypre. Every time I smell Deneuve, I think of gold glittering over a vast windswept field of greenery and blue flowers. It's sharp, it's green, there is lily of the valley creaminess to it. There is something like, almost like a wisteria. There's plenty of oak moss. There is civet. It's beautiful. I love Deneuve. I consider myself lucky to have had the opportunity to enjoy it, period. But it's long since discontinued. I'm never going to be able to afford another bottle of this, so I'm just going to enjoy what I have. And when I do, I'm strictly going to wear this for myself. I want to be able to enjoy Deneuve thoroughly. I want to give her the respect that she deserves. So I don't want to wear her when I'm out and about, where there are a million different things competing for my attention. Does that make sense, or does that sound stupid? Deneuve is effortlessly classy, and it's a shame that there wasn't more made of it, because I would love to wear this more regularly. It really is excellent. But those are just my picks. I want to hear from you. Tell me what it is that you wear strictly for yourself, just for your own enjoyment. And again, thank you to Margie Noire. Thank you for being here, and I love you. Have fun out there in the world, even if you're just by yourself. Calyx gives me bleh. I just hope that like at least one person watching this catches the reference on the shirt.